So welcome everyone to today's session with another very interesting entrepreneur. On International Women's Day, we welcome you to yet another episode of Emerging Women Leaders in Manufacturing, presented by Faber Infinite and Young Indians. Today, we have with us Ms. Perizaad Zorabian, someone who doesn't really need an introduction. Today, she is the director at Zorabian Chicken. She is a Mumbai University Gold Medalist, a trained Western classical ballet dancer, as well an MBA in marketing from City University of New York. Having created a unique niche for herself as an actress in independent offbeat cinema, Perizaad is now a full-time director of her family business, Zorabian Chicken. Zorabian Chicken was started 38 years ago by her father, Mr. Khorram Zorabian, with a vision to be a premium producer of quality chicken. Over the years, Zorabian has moved from being a respected brand in the wholesale space to being a retail brand with a brand loyalty that is prized and cherished. Welcome, Perizaad, to today's episode.
Thank you, Grishma. Thank you. And thank you for that wonderful introduction. My God, thank you so much.
Absolute pleasure to have you here with us. So we'll have a quick, some questions for you, and we're really excited to know more about your experiences as a woman entrepreneur. So firstly, Zorabian Chicken has had many firsts in the Indian poultry industry. You were amongst the first in India to build environmentally controlled farms and over the years always incorporated technology. So can you tell us more about your journey at Zorabian Chicken?
So, you know the math. I was a young girl when my father started with Zorabian. And Zorabian was started, because of honestly my father's passion for quality. Dad was a restaurateur. He had a catering business. Good quality meat was always an issue. And with food, if the quality of your meat is great, your food's going to be fantastic. So I think his quest for good quality meat was always, was something that was always there on a back burner. He was hoping to open, he bought this plot of land in Kapoli, and he was hoping to open a resort, right? So restaurant, catering, resort. And that was kind of his game plan. But we didn't get the NOC, and he was stuck with all this property and no NOC to kind of do a little resort for himself. So what next, right? I guess what kind of was a need in the back burner in terms of great quality chicken, and with his search for kind of really wanting, the best source and good quality products, he had kind of aligned with some really great poultry farmers. So, his dear friend, Ali Merchant, kind of had a beautiful farm. And, he's like, okay, resort nahi thai, to we will I will start a chicken farm, right? And because I think he's an entrepreneur, my father. And he realizes when he sees an opportunity, he's very brave. He kind of goes and, takes that on. He doesn't let a setback, hold him back. So I think he termed this not getting an NOC, which was a setback, into an opportunity. And just like that, he set up Zorabian. And of course, he was very clear in terms of his vision, right? That it was going to be a company that was going to supply the best chicken that was available in Bombay. So it was that legacy that got us the best contracts with everyone who valued quality in the institutional space. And we were always the first people that kind of, everyone went to. Of course, things kind of drastically changed. Poultry became highly lucrative. We had, larger companies who kind of came into the foray. Anything that's making money and that's doing well kind of attracts investment, and the whole business dynamic changed. The whole environment changed, and we kind of, in the early 2000s, we were kind of in debt. We were in a really bad space because on an institutional level, we could no longer, our prices were much, much higher than what our larger competitors were able to give. And whilst the whole midsection poultry segment kind of got completely wiped out, Zorabian was surviving, but in deep debt. And that's when Dr. Dash, again, like I said, the veterinarians knew the chicken that we had, said, listen, we want to kind of do, we want to do these pre-cuts, um, you know, um, chicken that's cut in a tray like they do abroad. And we only want Zorabian to do it. And again, in diversity comes great opportunity. And my dad said yes, because that was, honestly, we didn't have much of an option. And most of the big boys said, no, we're not interested. And we started Zorabian's Fresh Tray Pack, which then became like, it kind of swung the company around. And we got a front facing with the final consumer. And from there onwards, the journey of Zorabian has just been incredible, because we were dealing with the final consumer. We were dealing with the consumer that knew the chicken that was in their, in their fridge was a Zorabian product. It was in an institution. They don't care whether the biryani has Zorabian or anything else. So they really kind of paid the price for the quality. And it was remarkable how, adversity kind of, if you look at it in a positive way, becomes your greatest opportunity. And Zorabian's Fresh Tray Packs are the #1 tray pack in Mumbai and in Pune, and I say that with no exaggeration. So whilst we may still not be the largest, we're in the top 3, in India, as far as chicken is concerned, and as far as quality conscious consumer, without sounding horribly obnoxious, Zorabian by far is the preferred chicken for any quality conscious consumer, and it's amazing. The ups and lows that we've been through, and the kind of journey this team has taken has been incredible. My father's at 75, and we're seeing a slump right now with the bird flu. And he's like, I may be kind of dithering, and I may be completely harrowed, because it's been such a traumatic last 2 months. But my father at 75 is like, he's taken so many rides with poultry that he's, he's kind of the force behind the company even today, and saying, listen, if you can't handle stress, you shouldn't be an entrepreneur, right? Everything doesn't have to work the way you want it to work. Difficult times come. You got to ride through this as well. So, that's been Zorabian, full of challenges, Prishwa. But I think the one thing that the entire team resonates is resilience, and, a never say die attitude. It's kind of swung every adversity into an opportunity. And, by doing things right, you also leave a great legacy of integrity, quality, and trust. And that's why we still exist. And that's why I hope we will always continue to flourish.
Fantastic. Thank you, Perizaad. That's just so inspiring. And, just to see you speak with so much passion, it really shows how
it's
much
been a really traumatic journey. I've been since I'm 10 years old, I've seen Dad go through such highs and such lows that, it kind of, and to see how he stood through everything, it's just been incredible. That's why I went to the US to do my MBA. I was like, as a little girl would always say, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. This acting thing just kind of happened. I was always, when I was in the US studying and doing my MBA, Purdue chicken was always like, there was Tyson and there was Purdue. And Tyson, of course, is large, but Purdue's the second largest, but still a family-owned business. And when you think quality, you think Purdue. And I was like, we're going to be the Purdue of India. And it's amazing to be able to come back and to kind of live that dream out. You won't believe it, 2 years ago, we were in Delhi at the Ahar meet. And I was walking in with my team. And this foreigner was walking through with a bag of Purdue. And of course, my entire team knows how I obsess about Purdue. And my marketing head is like, oh my God, ma'am, that's Purdue. And before I could say anything, he ran to that American and he introduced himself. And by that time I walked to him, and, we said hi. And I said, oh my God, I've studied about all through college. I've idolized your company. And he had just landed in Delhi. He came to Bombay. And I get an email from him later on saying, the American consulate said that the Purdue of India is Zorabian, right? And it was such a high. And I kind of went in the next summer, 2 years ago, and actually met Jim Purdue, and he was like so fascinated that, oh, you're a Bollywood actress. I said, listen, you're like my Amitabh Bachchan in Bollywood. I have Jim Purdue in chicken, and I've kind of met both, and I hope to I've worked with one, and I hope to at some point collaborate with you. So
you
yeah,
kind of manifested this way back in
completely,
your college.
completely. He couldn't believe I was saying that. He said, really? I said, yes. I was 20 and a half years old, and you ask anyone on my team, it's just Purdue, so that's the kind of route we want to go. That's what we stand for, and that's the kind of route that, I hope the company takes.
Lovely.
So you can still be large and you can still be phenomenal, but you can still do everything right. That whole family touch
Yes.
needs to be there.
Very interesting. So, I think you've got a very strong role model in your father, someone who you
Yes.
admire so much, plus his entire ability of turning obstacles into opportunities. Yet, as a second generation entrepreneur, what challenges have you faced, especially as a woman?
Like I said, when I walked in, Zorabian was, uh, in very bad condition. And that's when we got this opportunity to start the tray packs. And that's when I stepped in. And my dad wanted to kind of, start this ready to cook range. And he was ready to kind of pick up, he'd already kind of taken the bank loans to invest in a sausage and salami factory. Everyone was kind of spelling doom because our company was not ready to enter the retail space. We didn't have the ability at all. We had a completely wholesale mindset. And I stepped in because I complained about the packaging and I called some packaging down market. And it was really, I said, Daddy, it's so tacky, And he gave me two bad words and he's like, listen, stop being prissy and kind of giving me a, very high-handed, opinion.
Yeah.
If you got something to say, come to the office and fix the packaging. So I started with kind of, designing the packaging for the sausages and the salami and the tikkas and the burger patties and the nuggets and all of that. And through that, I kind of rechanged the packaging for the fresh tray pack. And with that, started my journey with building the entire retail business of Zorabian. So my younger brother handles the farm, and we work with 150 contract farmers, and he handles all the farming and the production. And I kind of took on the role of sales, marketing, and distribution, which is a highly operational role. And it's been challenging to kind of say, I didn't come in with some fun putting in lots of money and then saying you burn the cash, but you grow it. No, we had to kind of, pay the interest and pay the salaries and kind of pay our bills on time and still grow the brand in a retail space with no crazy spend. And whilst that was challenging, it was amazing.
So, since you mentioned about the entire bird flu or COVID, where people actually stop eating meat for short periods, but still somehow Zorabian has managed to sustain. So, what is that secret mantra that's really worked for you?
Trust and trust. Of course, there's consistency in quality, right? So we've always been consistent with our quality, and I think that's like the strong foundation. But what's even stronger than that, and that is the trust people have. So this whole bird flu thing started. I've had messages that have been going. My phone's been full of messages saying. So I think trust, Grishima, is such, and it's just so important. And when you've got that going for you, everything else kind of falls into place.
No, it's so lovely. Like the foundation of the business is just so strong. The values in the brand is just so strong. It's amazing.
When you're dealing in chicken, there's a lot of cheating that you can do, right? In terms of water, in terms of shrinkage, right? And we don't do that. So someone may quote lesser than us, and my guys will keep telling them, sir, if Zorabian is selling you 2 kilos of breast boneless, you will get 2.200 grams, but you'll never get less.
So inspiring, Perizaad. Like every word that you're speaking, it's just absolutely amazing. So you did mention that, you work with your brother, your father's involved in the business. So since it's a family-run business, how do you manage to draw a line between family and business?
The first thing was that I had a father who was not a control freak. He was hugely encouraging. In fact, he would say, make the decision, we live with the consequence, right? The second thing is, of course, I have amazing brothers. I have Shahzad, who's the youngest, who runs the farm. And I have my brother Surab, who does Baba Zest and Sharon, which is a catering business. He took over Dad's catering and the restaurants and, the food business. And there are very clear lines that are drawn, and we don't cross those lines. So Shahzad will never interfere in what I'm doing, and I cannot, even though I want to, interfere in what he does, right? So it's very I think it's a very it's a great equation. Um, he kind of so I'm the one who's hyper and kind of wants to do a whole lot of things. Shahzad's very mellow and very like, let's do this right. Let's not rush into something. So I think there's a good balance. If either one of us was in charge, the company wouldn't be in half as good a position as it is right now, because we're both kind of the yin and the yang, so we kind of balance things out really well. And we respect boundaries, right? And we don't interfere at all in each other's space. I'm blessed.
Oh, nice. So since it's International Women's Day, one word that is used very frequently around March every year is women empowerment. So I want to understand, what does this term really mean to someone like Perizaad Zorabian?
So women empowerment, I think, begins at childhood, right? And that's why I say my mother is the real hero of the story, because I grew up with two younger brothers, and the rules were never different for us, right? Whether it came to kind of our home, we would all three have to set the table. We would all three have to wash the dishes. If one was washing the dish, one would be drying the dish, one would be kind of putting it in the cupboard, right? If we had to make our beds, we had to all make our beds. It's not like Perizaad has to make her bed and the boys' rooms beds were made by the maid. No, right? All our clothes were pushed on the bed. We had to all fold it and kind of push it into our cupboards. So when we grew up, we all had the same deadlines. So when we went partying, it's not like chokri chair, so she has to come early. It was nonsense, right? My deadline and my brother's deadline were 1.5 years apart, Sorab and myself, and our deadlines were the same. So if I had to come up by 1 o'clock in the morning, Sorab couldn't stay till 2. And I think that's a very, very, when you kind of set that up in someone's brain and you do it in these small things, you feel empowered automatically. I was allowed to, be an actress, follow my dreams. I didn't have a mother on set. My mother trusted me completely. My mother didn't read a single contract. When I went for my MBA, I did my own essays. I didn't have a counselor and I didn't have anybody. I was doing a summer internship and working through college. And I think all those things empower you, right? All those things kind of make you believe that, dude, you can do it all. So I mean, I went to China and shot a film in China for 3 months, and I used to cry because I hated the food. It was so cold. And my mom was like, listen, you chose to do it, no one forced you. And if you're doing it now, make the most of it. So I'm just saying, to empower someone is to allow them to experience life with no fear of failure. No, and you know what, even if you fail, take that hit and, push them right in that scene again. So if my mom didn't send me by train, I'd be a prissy Pali Hill kid, who would always be chauffeur driven everywhere. That is empowerment, just kind of seizing every opportunity.
Lovely. So yes, it's really nice that, you joining the business just got another, element into the entire mix, right?
Yeah. No, I didn't hear that. Sorry.
So, and I said, you joining the business just brought a different feel, a different story, empathy, empowerment. So definitely it's been a great
help. Totally.
So a last question for you, Perizaad. What would be your 3 top tips for women or emerging women leaders?
Most importantly, okay, like if I had to say number 1 is, come in as an equal over here. Second is that there is nothing, no amount of intellect, no amount of anything beats hard work, right? And I'm such a strong believer that there's a power in getting the basics right. Don't compromise. So to get the basics right, you want to kind of work hard and not have any element of compromise in what you do. right? So I think getting your hands dirty, keeping it basic, and is really the second most important quality, which all stems to hard work. And three, know your strengths is important, but it's also as important to kind of work on your weaknesses, right? So, and not kind of stay in that comfort zone. So I don't follow that, right? I'm a very operational, very structured person. My mind is very like I enjoy. So you give me anything to do with sales, I'm great at it. You give me anything to do with brand communication, marketing, I'm great at it. You give me anything operational, I'm great at it. But you give me anything with finance, and I'm like my brain shuts. So I think stuff that is not what you enjoy or not your core strength. Of course, hire the best professionals there is. But if you're leading a company or whatever, forget it. Even if you're working for somebody, right? It's important to know, what your where you're kind of blindsided, and kind of at least open your eyes and open your mind to kind of learning something new. And that's something really what I need. Really, I need to get my act together and do this. Because the minute I do that, I have even more confidence to kind of take the next step for the company.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Perizaad. So any parting words on the occasion of International Women's Day?
Stay secure, stay confident, stay feeling positive, give yourself a lot of self-love and kind of go down the zone that scares you the most. Happy Women's Day.
Wonderful. So thank you, Perizaad. It was absolutely a delight having this conversation with you. Your energy, your passion, your enthusiasm is so encouraging for all women and men out here. So thank you so much once again. And
thank you. It was wonderful chatting with you. And I feel great. I really, truly feel great. Thank you very, very much. Thank you.
So we'd like to thank Faber Infinite Consulting, CII Young Indians Ahmedabad Chapter, Roundtable India, CII Indian Women's Network, and Rotary International Club of Pune University for making this series possible. So thank you, everyone, and happy International Women's Day once again.